Within this lecture, we are going to examine words that are commonly misused within writing. Specifically, we are going to examine the words its, then, and there. Let's begin with its and its. When we have its and an apostrophe s, this signifies a contraction, it is. When we have its without the apostrophe, this signifies possession. Let's take a look at an example sentence. It's almost as if the couch cushions attract television remotes. Remember that its with the apostrophe s signifies it is, while its without the apostrophe signifies possession. Here we can insert it is within the sentence, and the sentence continues to make sense. It is almost as if the couch cushions attract television remotes. Since we can replace its with it is, we will use the form with the apostrophe s. Let's take a look at another example sentence. The chameleon ate its lunch as the children watched intently. Here, again, we have the form its and its. If we try to insert it is, the chameleon ate it is lunch as the children watched intently, the sentence does not make sense. Therefore, in this instance, its is referring to possession. It's the chameleon's lunch, or its lunch. When we are looking at its, we must remember that the apostrophe s signifies it is, while the word without the apostrophe signifies possession. Now that we have looked at its and its, let's move on and examine than and then. Then, with en, signifies time and usually means next. Than, with an an, signifies a comparison. Let's take a look at an example sentence. If corporations reduce their pollution, carbon dioxide levels could then decrease. When examining this use of then and then, we need to decide whether this then and then is referring to time or whether it is referring to a comparison. Since carbon dioxide levels would drop after corporations reduce their pollution, here we are referring to time. Since we are referring to time, we need to use then with an en. If corporations reduce their pollution, carbon dioxide levels could then decrease. Let's take a look at another example. The Earth is more beautiful than Mars. Within this sentence, we must again identify whether we are discussing time or a comparison. Here, since we are comparing Earth to Mars in its beauty, we need to use the an form. Earth is more beautiful than Mars. When looking at then and than, it's important to remember that then refers to time, while than refers to a comparison. The last group of words that we will be looking at is there, and there. Their refers to possession. They' refers to the contraction they are, while there refers to a direction or what is called an expletive, a word that has no real grammatical function within the sentence. Let's take a look at an example that uses all three of these forms. There, at the corner, my grandparents took their car the wrong way, but they're okay. Let's look at each of these sections in turn, beginning with the first instance of there. There at the corner. Here we are referring to a direction, so there would be T-H-E-R-E. Let's take a look at the second usage of there. My grandparents took their car the wrong way. When looking at this there, we'll note that we are not referring to a location or direction, nor are we referring to they are. My grandparents took their car the wrong way does not make sense. Here we are indicating possession. Whose car is it? It is their car. Therefore, we will use T-H-E-I-R. Let's now look at the final example. But they're okay. Here again, we are not referring to direction, nor are we referring to possession. Rather, it appears as if we are using the form they are. In order to see whether T-H-E-Y''re is correct, we can place they are within the sentence and see whether the sentence makes sense. But they are okay. Since the sentence is correct, we can use the apostrophe RE form. There, at that corner, my grandparents took their car the wrong way, but they're okay. When looking at these different forms of there, it might be easy to identify when we are paying attention to our sentences. However, these words are often used incorrectly when we write papers. Before we conclude this lecture, let's take a look at a few examples to help solidify the knowledge of what we have learned thus far. They're going to the mall before school. See if you can identify the correct form of there for this sentence. Here, since we can replace there with they are, we will use the apostrophe RE form. They are going to the mall before school. They're going to the mall before school. Let's take a look at another example sentence. The nurses over there are staring at you. See if you can identify the correct form within this sentence. Since we are indicating direction, we will use T-H-E-R-E, there. The dog lost its chew toy and barked for hours until it was found. Which form of its should we use within this sentence? This sentence is using possession. We can check this by trying to insert it is within the sentence. The dog lost it is chew toy and barked for hours until it was found does not make sense. So we cannot use the apostrophe S form. Instead, we'll use the possessive form of its without the apostrophe. Let's look at another example. The government publicized its decision to send an ambassador to China. Which form of its will we use within this sentence? As with the previous example, this example is using the possessive form of its. The government publicized its decision to send an ambassador to China. Their bookshelf was overflowing with encyclopedias. Which form of there will we use within this sentence? Since this form of there is showing possession, we will use T-H-E-I-R. Their bookshelf was overflowing with encyclopedias. Let's look at another example. After Janet lost the tournament, she then began to question her ability. Which form of this word will we use within this sentence? Remember that then with an en signifies time, while than with an an signifies a comparison. Since she is beginning to consider after the tournament, we want the form that denotes time, which would be en. After Janet lost the tournament, she then began to question her ability. Let's look at another example. It's not an option to announce the company's bankruptcy in the newspaper. Which form of it's will we use here? This form of it's is not showing possession. Rather, it is showing the contracted form of it is. It is not an option to announce the company's bankruptcy in the newspaper. Since we can replace it's with it is, we'll use the form with the apostrophe s. Let's take a look at one final example. During summer break, my mother always tells me to do more than just sit around the house. Which form will we use within this sentence? Here, since we are denoting a comparison, I should do more than just sit around the house. We will use the an form. During summer break, my mother always tells me to do more than just sit around the house. Within this lecture, we have examined various words that are often misused within papers. Hopefully, after watching this lesson, you have a better idea of how to identify the correct word and use it within a sentence.